remember what I had on, like a red pair of shorts that had like boats and cartoon boats. And he started massaging my butt and pulled my shorts down. And he picked me up out of the bed, and I was small. Y'all know I was a skinny kid. I was small, I was skinny, I was frail. He picked me up out of the bed, put me on the floor, and started to pretty much have his way with me. And I remember from that moment on, all I wanted to do was go home. Just wanted to go home. I can't remember anything else about that trip other than I remember the ride home. The ride home seemed so long.
Jesus.
And we rode that van, the little van I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Off-white van.
Yeah, we know.
That had the name of the
yeah.
And I will not say the name, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Right. Y'all gonna pray for me because I slip a lot. Y'all gonna pray for me. Go ahead, baby.
That ride home was so long to me because I wanted to get home so bad. And anyway, so from that moment on, we just kind of, did business as usual, kept going to church. So we were in church like a lot. Y'all remember, like Sunday was Sunday school, morning service, youth service, afternoon, and then come back to night service.
All day. Yeah. Ooh.
And of course there was midweek service and rehearsals and a lot of things, whatever. But it just seemed like I got to a point where I started rebelling. Because my mother and my brother and we lived right next door to the church. Y'all know the building. Mm-hmm. Right next door to the church. And so it got to a point where I didn't want to go anymore. Mm. And I told my mom, I told my mother, I told her I'm not going there anymore. And of course, our parents. What do you? You're the child. You going to church or whatever. And it got to the point where I just said, Mom. And here's what I said. I said he keeps looking at me. That was my way of saying it without saying it. Mm-hmm. Get to me. I didn't know how to form out my mouth.
Articulate it, to
say what he actually did.
Yeah.
He keeps looking at me, but he did. Well, by the time he did more than just look at me. Mm. And so it wasn't enough for her to, she didn't understand. I eventually told her, and when I told her, I remember her response. And I love my mother. Let me just please understand. I love my mom. So listen, I'm not in no way trying to expose her or make her look bad, but she was a mother doing the best. Now, I'll pause and say this here. What I realized as I've gotten older, that people, our parents in particular, who were abused themselves, when when people have not dealt with their own abuse, they don't know how to help you deal with yours.
With yours, yeah.
And I'm clear about that now. So anyway, when I told her, she set up a meeting with him, which was in his van, in that same van, in the parking lot, which y'all remember it was on that dirt road next to the church. It was parked in that parking lot. The meeting was in that van, and it was just between her and him. Now she told me that when she asked him about it, and he admitted to it, she said she slapped him. I don't know. I wasn't there. But but it still wasn't enough for me to just be convinced to keep going there. So I started rebelling. Yeah. You and I went to the same high school, East Orange High School.
Oh yeah.
Music. I literally, my interest in school, in education, I had no.
The music department.
But music.
That was his outlet. That's the outlet.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That was our salvation.
I hung out in the chorus room.
That's all we did.
Oh, we did.
That was our saving grace. I feel like for a lot of us,
yeah.
I feel like because I'm grateful that we were plugged into like the arts
and Chad, Jerome,
Claudius,
Felicia Woods to sing like Anita Baker, all of them.
And Miss Porter and Mr. Phillips.
Miss Porter,
yeah, man. So that was my outlet, but I wasn't doing good in school. education wise.
Yeah, me.
Then I ran away from home. I remember going, and I eventually ended up moving in with my grandmother, who lived on Mapes Avenue on Burton Street and that side of it. And I stopped going to the church on my own.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I started going to the other church. I know what I'm talking about, the one that's under the
Right.
same branch. And when the pastor found out, God rest his soul, he since passed, he died. But he found out why I was coming, and he had a meeting with me in his car too, you know. And I remember the car was it was a used car, brown used car with a red door. I'll never forget that. He set up a meeting with me, him, my godbrother, Mario, and another pastor, I guess as a witness. And he asked me, he's like, Tim, did it happen? And I said, yeah, it happened. He's like, oh, did it really, really happen? I'm like, yeah, it really happened. He, like many people back then, would not believe.
They don't believe children.
And what he said to me, he said, you cannot come here anymore. He told me that I couldn't come in. So when he told me that,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that you were told. I knew that y'all had a conversation, but for some reason I don't recall. Wow.